Tonight, that same objective is a place in the Cygnett WNBL Grand Final as the league's fiercest rivals collide, both figuratively and literally, for a ticket to the Championship Series. The Melbourne Boomers finally found a way past the Southside Flyers in a stunning Game 2 turnaround that kept their title defence alive. The Flyers will be breathing fire after that disappointment and return home to SBC with another opportunity to put their rival away. But now it's a 50-50 equation. One game, all or nothing. The State Basketball Centre is set to explode as the Flyers host the Boomers for a berth in the Cygnett WNBL Grand Final.
This is finals basketball. Every team is good. Crosstown rivalry, exactly what you want.
The Flyers are now just one win away from their third grand final.
She's in too much pain and the call has been made that she will not be suiting up tonight, so they will be without their star input.
Over the top to George. That is beautiful ball movement from Melbourne. Mon to respond. They needed it. Wallace to finish. Oh, yes!
It's everything you could probably dream of. It's physical, you've got players talking trash, you've got benches talking trash, and it's a battle out here.
Wallace drains the three. What a response it's been from Christy Wallace. She went none for 11 in Game 1. She's up to 27 points tonight.
We were desperate tonight, and I think that we showed that. So next game, you know, anything can happen.
What a performance from the reigning champions. They are still alive. The Melbourne Boomers send this semi-final series to a Game 3 decider. Yes, anything could happen indeed, in the words of Christy Wallace. Good evening and welcome to Game 3, our series decider in this Cygnett WNBL semi-final series between the Melbourne Boomers and the Southside Flyers. Jason Bennett alongside Laurie Chiswick, the 1996 Coach of the Year, and the 12-time champion, Carrie Graff. And Graffy, well, what a series this has been so far. It's ebbed, it's flowed. It was all Southside in Game 1, all Boomers in Game 2. What are you expecting in Game 3?
It's all bets off now. It's a one-gamer. It's old school. It's going to be all the things that playoffs are. It's about pressure D, it's about possession, and it's about persistence, and both teams have all that in spades.
The Townsville Fire await the winner of tonight's match. They swept the Lynx in the other semi-final series. Laurie, it's been a roller coaster, this one, emotionally and on the scoreboard. Take us into the mindset of both these teams now. Southside dominant early, Boomers coming off a great win, and now it's a one-game wonder.
I think both coaches would be talking about composure, and composure for 4 quarters. Who can weather the storm if things happen? There are going to be momentum swings. There are going to be controversial calls. So who can be prepared both mentally and emotionally? We know there's lots of physical talent out there, but who can be prepared in those ways to go into battle tonight?
Speaking of physical, this series, Graffy, has been extremely physical. It's always spicy when Southside play Melbourne, but this series in particular, with the increased stakes, has been increased physicality. What are you expecting on that front tonight?
More of the same. I mean, look, both teams have got guards that can get downhill and put the ball on the floor, and Southside in particular have got exceptional point guard defenders. They can get their body in front, make big plays, and it really has been refereed 2 different ways in Game 1 to Game 2, so it'll be interesting to see how that block charge call is called tonight. Both teams are going to put the ball on the deck and get to the rim. Defenders are going to be putting their body on the line.
Well, let's welcome in the 4th member of our commentary team. She is courtside this evening, Candy Hertz. And Candy, all eyes on Kayla Thornton, the star import for the Flyers. She missed Game 2 with that rolled ankle. What's her status for Game 3?
Well, the good news for Southside Flyers is that she is suiting up and will be back out on the court tonight. Their star import, no doubt, providing that dominance on both sides of the court. Now, I did catch up with assistant coach to Melbourne Boomers, Christy Howrah. She is just a 3-time WNBL champ and 4-time Olympian. And I wanted to know what she was going to be imparting onto her team today. She said just a sense of belief, a real trust in the system. And she said if they come out really physical right from the get-go, that's going to put them in a great position. Now, Game 2, of course, was really loud at the boombox, but tonight it is back on the Flyers' terms. It is their home court once again. It's their team, it's their crowd, it's their fans, it's their mascots, and hopefully they're the ones who are going to do their very best to get their team over the line tonight.
Thanks, Candy. Laurie, the return of Kayla Thornton, let's begin there. What does that mean for this contest?
Oh, well, having Kayla back in that starting lineup is a huge plus for Southside. She is their leading scorer, averaging almost 17 points per game, but really she is the heart and soul of their defense. She talks, she organizes, she protects the rim, and she did a great job on league MVP Kayla George in game 1.
Flyers have won 4 out of 5 against the Boomers. What have been the keys to that success, Laurie?
Well, just flowing on defense, they need to be proactive. They've played each other 4 times. This is the 5th time this season. So they know each other's offenses. They know their scouts inside out. So they need to be proactive. Bump cutters, get in the passing lane, force catches further away from that 3-point line. Just basically make the Boomers uncomfortable. Try and dictate defense instead of being reactive. And secondly, trust the process. I feel like in game 2, they rush some of their shots. And that could be a product of them being behind with scoreboard pressure and feeling the need to get a shot up quickly. But they need to push the ball, and if nothing's there, pull it out. Get it through hands, work to get each other open, but really trust the process that the coaches have put in place.
Rafi, what changed for the Boomers in game 2, and what have they got to focus on tonight to go to back-to-back grand finals?
Well, for them, the game was back on their terms. You know, their big 3 stepped up. You know, they had Wallace, Mitchell and George came to play and got loose and got scoring. But for them, I think the focus has absolutely got to shift to their defence, you know, particularly defensive transition. If they can't slow the Flyers down on D-trans, they're going to be in trouble. That's when the momentum swings. That's when the Flyers can jump out and you look up on the scoreboard and you're 14 down suddenly. So for them, the focus has got to be on that half-court defence. Are they helping their rotations on time and locking up for those periods of the game where they potentially go through some scoring droughts, because this Southside Flyers team do such a good job of locking up their big 3.
From a tactical perspective and a match-up perspective, Laurie, it's going to be fascinating tonight. They took Kayla Thornton out of the game, so they went small. Therefore, Melbourne went small. They went with Christy Wallace and Leilani Mitchell on the court for extended periods together, and it actually worked for them. Might they continue with that tonight, even if Southside go big again?
Well, I think, you know, that's where you look at the coaches, and it's a bit of a tactical, you know, war against them as well. And so I think they'll have that option. I think they'll know that Thornton's going to be in there. She's such a big impact. So they're going to have to start big and hope that they come out with the same energy and endeavor that they did in game 2.
From a tempo perspective, Carrie, they do like to play very different tempos. Southside up tempo, Melbourne like to slow things down. Having Leilani on the floor allows them to do that a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, the coaches will, you know, they'll have plan A, plan B, plan C in place in terms of the game. You know, do we see Melbourne throw their zone again a bit tonight? But as you say, Leilani Mitchell can come in and slow the tempo, get him to play a half-court set, and allows Wally to then play, you know, a little more scoring and attacking, get her off the ball for a bit where she can play loose and free offensively.
I thought, in fact, Graffi, that when Leilani was in, especially near the end of the game, and that combination with her calling the shots as far as slowing things down when they needed to and use clock was really beneficial to them.
Yeah, we know that's what she can do. She's got great IQ. She can manage
Absolutely.
teams. You know, she hasn't got the quick so much anymore, but and that's the thing. Can you attack her at the other end?
Congratulations to Chris Lucas. Becomes just the 4th coach in the WNBL to coach 350 games, 2 championships with the Fire in 15-16. Sits now behind Phil Brown on 495, Carrie Graff on 434, Tom Maher on 368. And tonight, Chris Lucas coaches game number 350. 100 games also to Penina Davidson, and Laurie Penina, coming off the bench in game 2, had a huge impact.
She absolutely did. If you look at her stat line, 100% right across, whether it was field goals, 3-point shooting, free throws, 18 minutes, she had 13 points. She was certainly played her role and was inspirational when she came on.
So 2 great rivals to go at it again, and with a grand final berth on the line, Townsville awaits. Will it be the 2020 champion Flyers or the reigning champion Boomers? It's the Game 3 semi-final decider. The Flyers hosting the Boomers at SBC. Townsville await, and away we go. It'll be the Boomers to begin.
What a matchup this one's going to be. Christy Wallace, Maddie Rocci, who's going to win that battle?
There's Nelson Adoda to Murray. Mitchell against Cole. What a battle that'll be. Tiff gets to position, puts up the first shot, won't go. And away comes Southside through Bishop to Rocci.
Both teams just settling in here. Nice, slow, half-court offense, feeling each other out a little.
Cole receives from Bishop. Here is Thornton. Mitchell with the matchup early. Import against import, and Thornton scores first.
just the size and the mismatch down low. Looked easy for a one-on-one clinic in the low post.
Wallace gets to a position she likes and ties it up.
And then there's that pull-up jump shot that we know is Christy Wallace has got down to a T, especially this season. She's been unstoppable for that.
Rocci to Thornton. Blitzarves to Bishop. Rocci against Wallace. Maddie looking for an option. Blitzarves against Mitchell. Maddie from long range. And away comes George. Wallace and George combine. Kayla puts it on the floor, goes herself and draws an early foul on Thornton.
I like that mindset of Kayla testing her ankle basically to see how much she can move. What's her lateral movement like? See if she can get her into some early foul trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both coaches will be looking at what matchups can they attack, who can they get in foul trouble early, and test the referees. How are they going to call it tonight when you go downhill and put the ball on the floor?
What a season she's had, the league MVP. Really set the tone, Carrie, in game 2. She came out, she was sharp, she led from the front, she settled her team and gave them an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And clearly, Thornton not being out there to defend her, clearly that had a huge impact. I think that matchup is one that suits the Southside Flyers. Let's see who can get the edge in that matchup.
On each other at the moment as Bishop puts up the shot. In scuttles Rocci. Here's Thornton from long range. Bang!
Your ankle doesn't hurt when you shoot a 3 like that.
That's exactly what they were missing in game 2, just that scoring punch from Thornton.
Wallace, Mitchell probing, looking for an opening. It's knocked away by Rocci. Go ahead pass, hot for Cole, she keeps it alive. Blitzarves, Thornton, not this time, but it'll sit for Cole. Bishop, she can pull the trigger. That won't go either, and the Boomers escape.
They do escape. They need to make sure they lock up the blocking out and not give them second chance opportunities.
Mitchell can't get it to go. Off the hands of Thornton last. It will remain a Melbourne ball.
Both teams getting some good looks, some wide open 3 looks for Southside Flyers, and then on the break, mid-range pull-up jump shots for the Melbourne Boomers.
Nelson Adota with the inbound. There's Mitchell, too easy. Won't go. Shot the Tiff would normally make. Maybe some early nerves. Rocci bounces it to Bishop. Wants to work on Wallace. Almost by Blitzarves, and here comes George.
Both teams a little nervous, perhaps on some finishes here, shots that should be dropping for them.
Mitchell, Wallace, Kayla in the corner. Nelson Adota, lovely, spins through traffic.
Great mismatch for her with Maddie Rocci behind, and she presented, she held that seal. And even when Cole came over to help, she was able to finish strongly.
Such an efficient finisher. At a whopping 62% she averages from the field. Speaks to her efficiency down low.
It's arms from long range. Not that time. And away comes Wallace again. Collides with Rocci. Off to Mitchell. George goes herself. It's way short and picked off by Thornton. Mitchell and Wallace get back. Rocci, Thornton. Back out to Maddie. Won't go, and Nelson Adota pulls down the board.
Clearly a strategy for the Melbourne Boomers is to dig in there against that mismatch. They'll dare the 3-point shot. They want to dig the ball out of Thornton's hands, make her spit it back out to the shooter. It's working for them so far.
Wallace. It's a screen from Nelson Adota. Small little window of opportunity, and Christie takes it.
Wow, that mid-range jumper. That is her signature move. Shoots it exceptionally well.
She does. She just comes off and she goes up, straight up with such athleticism and has such a nice shot release.
Boomers by 3 as we approach the 4-minute mark of this Game 3 series decider. Rocci inside for Thornton. Well done by George.
Great scout on that. I guess if she's turned middle, Kayla was down low, came across, and not only set a good double, but it was an aggressive double so that she couldn't pass easily out of it.
George goes baseline against Bishop. Abby wanted the call for baseline. She won't get it.
Clearly a focus for the Boomers and for Kayla George in particular. Put the ball on the deck and challenge Bishop. Challenge Thornton. See if she can get herself to the free throw line, not settling for perimeter play.
Kayla back to the free throw line.
So again, we talked about Kayla in game 2 coming out and really starring right at the beginning, and that could have been a product of no Thornton there. But I tell you what, I like the way she looks today in this game. She doesn't look like she did in game 1, where she was very passive, really the whole game.
Interesting stat, in all 5 times these two teams have met this season, the team that wins the free throw count wins the game. It's Melbourne by 5 at the moment. 5.5 to play in the opening term. Rochi. Cole over the top to Bishop, and now outside to Blitzarves. Nicely drawn up.
Yeah, well executed against the, quick rotations coming into any of those mismatches in the post. Found the open shooter, Blitzarves. That's money for her.
Wallace looking for an option. Murray. Now to George. Shot clock to single digits. Mia against Thornton. Little spin move from Kayla. We've seen that so many times.
Well, it was so smart of her. She had the ball on the perimeter with a smaller defender, so passed it and immediately went and posted up.
And he goes herself off the knee of Nelson Adota and out. Remains a Southside ball.
And that focus for Kayla George, playing inside, then back to it, the outside. Great tactical move from the Melbourne Boomers in terms of make people defend her inside. She can always pull them back out, but that inside focus is working exceptionally well for the Melbourne Boomers.
Rochi inbound to Cole. Pressure comes from Mitchell. Screen comes from Bishop. She take on Nelson Adota. Kicks it out to Rochi. Wallace tries to close her down. Can she work on Murray? Off the foot of Christy Wallace, and remains a Southside ball.
Melbourne Boomers team defence, exceptional at the moment. In all the right gaps, making it hard to penetrate. Anything that goes into the block, they're collapsing on.
Thornton versus Mitchell. Can she get her one-on-one here? Kayla tries to work. She spins. It's short.
Mitchell bodied her up well.
Receives from Kayla. Some fancy footwork. Difficult. Well done by Blitzarves. Stood her ground.
You can see the Southside Flyers just pushing that ball wide open. Rochi. Sometimes we get those two mixed
they
up,
are interchangeable in just about every sense of the word.
Southside Flyers just 2 of 8 from 3-point range. They've had lots of wide open ones. Can't get that 3-ball to drop just yet.
Cole. Here's Blitzarves. Dangerous from any position on the court. Off the hands of Bishop. And Melbourne will get the ball.
And well refereed so far in the game. The referees haven't overcalled it. They're not making any big calls. They're allowing the players to play. It's physical without being over the top.
Wallace against Rochi, the two main protagonists. This time it's Short and Bishop to Maddie. Steps past Mitchell, gives it to Bishop. Now back to Rochi. Blitzarves wants Abby to come at her. Wants to take on Mitchell. Gets herself a little bit of room. Late foul call.
It's a good move by Sarah Blitzarves, showing us her guard skills there. But it just got her defender, Tiff Mitchell, a little bit off balance there.
Yeah, and just the length that the Southside Flyers have on the perimeter with Blitzarves, can play that 3-4 spot. Thornton has the ability to do both too. Challenging matchups at times for the Boomers.
87% free throw shooter this season, 55 of 63. Sarah Blitzarves, she's had a fine season. Brings her team back within 2. Rochi against Wallace once again. Mia Murray. George. Wallace. There's that jumper. Not this time.
Some good execution by the Melbourne Boomers, running them off a lot of sets, staggered screens, double screens, finishing ball screen action as Rochi gets to the rim.
And draws the foul. Saw the opportunity there, Laurie. Her eyes lit up and she went for it.
Absolutely, and the Southside Flyers have been pushing the ball, and you can see Rochi there. Defense was back, but they weren't quite set. They weren't quite ready. She wasn't recognized that Wallace wasn't quite in front of her, and so really good take.
Now a chance to tie it up once again.
Just what you'd expect. Game 3 of semi-final series between these two teams, an arm wrestle.
Melbourne led by as much as 5 early. And now we're all tied up, are we? No, 1-point game. Wallace. To Mitchell. George to Murray. Contact off the ball between Wallace and Thornton. Davidson's into the game, over the top to George. A quick release, not this time. Chance here for the Flyers to hit the front. Rochi will go herself from long range. Murray scrambles after it, gets a hand on it, but it'll be a Southside ball.
Well, she couldn't afford to let it just roll out of bounds on its own, or else Betcole would have got it, so she at least tried to get it, but still went the Flyers' way.
Melbourne Boomers doing a good job offensively just to execute lots of screening actions. We're seeing some pick action, some staggered screen action. Really happy to work that clock, make Southside defend them in the half court.
So Rochi off, Conti on. Ernst into the game as well for the Flyers. It's Cole versus Murray. Blitzarms open again. We saw that earlier in the season and she nailed them for 41.
You've got to navigate that screen. You cannot go under with Sarah. They just got caught off guard.
Been a good fight back here from the Flyers. They've got their feet underneath them again, and now they lead. And an off-the-ball foul.
So you could see as Kayla George went to set that screen, Thornton was trying to body up and push her further out so the screen couldn't be set at exactly the same way and perhaps far enough out that the defender could slide under, but she was called for a foul.
So Thornton will sit, and Marie Potch checks into the game. Wallace with Conti now for company. Davidson versus Ernst. Christie wanted to feed it through to George. It's not there. She'll go to Davidson. 3 seconds. Panina loses the handle and can't beat the clock.
Southside smothering defence there. You can see they're happy to go under that ball screen action with Christie Wallace. Get under quick and make sure they can get a hand up as she looks to shoot the pull-up. So we saw Davidson couldn't quite make that penetration work for her, but that collapsing defence of Southside Flyers made it tough for her.
So it's been a good couple of minutes here. Southside trail by 5. Work their way to the front. They now lead by 2. Just done it methodically. Ratcheted up the pressure. Looked after the ball at the other end. Potch. Wide open again, Carly Ernst. The pass misses, but that had Sarah Blitzarv's flashbacks all over it.
That was a get-out-of-jail card free for the Melbourne Boomers, absolutely.
Mark that 45 spot on the wing for Blitzarvs.
Well done by Blitzarvs. Intercepted the Mitchell pass, and then Conti and Blitzarvs not on the same page. The Boomers again get out of jail.
They do a couple of little cheapy turnovers for Southside. Couldn't really kicked out the scoreline there potentially.
Final 2 minutes of the opening quarter. Southside by 2. Winner to face Townsville in the grand final. Game 1 Saturday night. Mitchell to George versus Blitzarvs. Kayla looking for separation. Can't get the shot away. Potch slaps it clear off the hands of Conti. And Mitchell will regain it for Melbourne. Over the top to George. And some nerves from both teams here. Some what you would consider regulation passes missing the target.
Oh, so exactly, Jason. Just ones that overdoing it, overextending, and such missed opportunities for both teams.
Kayla George wide open for an easy 2. That goes begging for Melbourne. Conti to Cole. Takes on Leilani Mitchell and finishes.
Yeah, tactical move there. As soon as Leilani came in, they've isolated on that on the elbow there and created a one-on-one. See if they can attack her foot speed.
Southside up by 4 now. Their biggest lead in the game so far. Loose pass from Davidson. Mitchell manages to keep it alive. Jacks up a 3.
She is such a big-time player, Leilani Mitchell. She brought a championship home to the Flyers, and now she's trying to do the same, trying to get them into a grand final, the Boomers.
Back to a 1-point game. Cole. There's Ernst. Mitchell manages to close her down just in time. Beck puts it on the floor against Panina. Runs into Mitchell. Well done, Boomers. Had bodies in the lane.
Stifling defence. Southside Flyers just didn't attack that switch action well then.
It's been a defensive grind in this opening term. And what's been such a high-scoring season. It's 16-15 with 20 seconds to play. George. Davidson will keep it alive. Will she go herself against Ernst? Well done. Just ripped out of her hands there by Blitzarvs. And Southside can have the final say. Conti, will she take Davidson on? Won't go. Wallace hangs onto it. And at quarter time, we've got ourselves a tight, tense contest. Southside 16, Melbourne 15.
Okay, we're not finishing plays at the other end. The ball's bouncing on the floor. Okay, now they're trying to post up late. Big deal. Help each other. Team. Okay, got to finish plays. Finish plays. Got to run one down all the way through to the turnout for you. Okay, if you've got the post up, we'll have a look. They're challenging reversal. Okay, as you did, get sealed off. Got to finish plays, guys. All right, let's go. You got 42. You got 42. Bust it. Get a huddle now.
Tense, tight opening term, 1 point game. Southside lead at 16-15. It's been a low scoring defensive struggle. Both teams missing opportunities you may expect them to take. You can just sense this atmosphere at SBC at the moment. The crowd a little subdued as well. Everyone on the edge of their seats. High stakes basketball as we start the second term. Potch, Bishop, Rochi. Back to Abby. Potch from long range.
Well, they missed a perfect opportunity in there with Blitzovs with a big mismatch.
Yeah, executed well the ball screen action. Didn't attack the switch down low. Too slow to recognise.
It's Madota to Murray. So Mitchell starting the second term for the Boomers. Wallace on the bench. Here's Tiff Mitchell to the corner for George. And Kayla makes the opening basket.
Huge. I mean, she's the MVP of the league, but she's also their spiritual leader. You know, when she's up, they're up.
Cole against Murray. Rochi back to Beck. Looking for Abby inside. Goes to Potch. Now Rochi for the response. Not quite. Off the iron and cleaned up by Tiff Mitchell. Boomers by 2.
Boomers doing a great job defensively. When there's a mismatch in the post, they're plugging the keyway, not making an easy feed in as the Flyers get out on the break.
Cole looking for support. Blitz arms open. Extra pass to Potch. Will take on Murray. Tough finish. She makes it and one.
Yeah, Murray may have just got under Potch as she was in the air. Ooh, she got there, the vet, I think. Tough call.
And that's those 50-50 calls that we talked about a lot in the game 1 and game 2. And you know, it's who would want to be a referee really to be doing these last games, but you know, those are the ones that really can make a difference, and that's where you have to keep your composure, whether it goes for you or against you. Keep your cool.
Scores level. George feeds it through to Mitchell, who's none for 5 so far. Tiff yet to really get going here. George to Leilani. 3 seconds to shoot. Offensive foul on the screen.
Wow. Interesting now, a couple of calls. Are they momentum swinging calls? But to your point, Laurie, regardless of how the referees are calling it up, I've got to say, prior to these two calls, exceptional.
Let's head courtside. Candy Hurts.
Yeah, sat in on the Southside Flyers timeout, at quarter time, sorry. And the message from Cheryl was just to offensively go a bit more inside, keep moving, get some more stops. Also, we have noticed now, if you can see, Kayla Thornton is on the bike. I think they're just monitoring that ankle. I'm not sure what that means for her for the rest of this match.
Thanks, Candy. Candy Pippa's posted courtside. Speculative pass from George is picked off by Bishop and broken up. Chance here for Potch. She loses it back the other way. Scrambling play. Flyers will come up with it.
Now it's scrappy desperation from both teams.
It's got a Game 3 series decider feel to it. That shot from Cole, partly deflected and then off the hands of Bishop. So it'll be a Boomers ball. Laurie, your thoughts on the opening turn?
Well, certainly, I think defensively, both teams are really heating it up. They're collapsing, they're doubling, they're going under screens, they're talking. It's really a defensive grind, and it looks good though. It's nice to see. I love that for finals basketball.
Candy caught up with Tiff Mitchell pre-game.
Tiff, talk us through your headspace and the team's headspace as well, coming into such a high-pressure do-or-die game today.
Yeah, I think we had really good momentum after our win against them the last game going into this one. So we're just trying to capitalize on that, keep that energy and motivation going into this game.
36 points for you alone at game 1, and then a stellar team effort in game 2. What do you need to do this game to help fire up your team?
Yeah, just to keep them motivated, playing hard, just keep everybody level-minded regardless of how the game is going. And that's probably the most thing that we're worried about right now, and just to make sure that everybody's in a great headspace, just go out there and compete.
Now, Kayla back in the team for Southside today. How does that change the game plan?
It doesn't. I mean, it's a team effort. One player doesn't really change what we want to do. Defensively, we already talked about, how we want to defend them. So it's just sticking to our game plan and hopefully coming out with the win.
Tiff, how badly do you want this win today?
Yeah, I mean, another trip back to the finals is what I came out here for. A championship is what I came out here for, so I'm going to do everything that I can to help us get in that position, and hopefully everybody on our team together has that same mindset, and we can pull out this win today.
Now, thanks to Tiff Mitchell. Kayla George with 9 points, Wallace 4, Nelson Adoda 2, Mitchell, the Leilani variety has 3, but Tiff Mitchell, none for 5 so far in this game.
Well, I'm interested watching Tiff. She hasn't driven all the way to the basket yet. She's stopping and pulling up. As I say that, there she drives all the way, of course.
Loses the handle on it. Calling for the foul. She was chopped. Tiff Mitchell getting some frustration here. Candy was in the Boomers huddle.
Yeah, the message from coach was that they're playing too quick. He really wants them to slow that tempo down and to talk more.
Thanks, Candy. We spoke about the tempo early. Southside like it quick. Boomers tend to play it slower tempo game. Cole and Bishop combining. It's knocked away from Abby. Picked up by Wallace.
Sorry, Jason. The defense from both teams, and we just saw it on display by the Boomers, is excellent.
Wallace, tough finish. Put the head down. Got the roll.
Just gritted her way to get a bucket then, didn't she? Rochi just held her ground. Wallace just found a way to finish it. Not pretty, but we'll take that in a playoff like this.
Scores level once again. Rochi out to Bishop. Thought about the feed inside to Blitzarves. Instead went to Rochi. Will she take on George? She does. She goes left. Comes back right. Lovely from Maddie Rochi.
Smart play. Just waited. Let there be space. Took that one-on-one opportunity against the bigger Kayla George, who gapped it pretty well, but she just used her hesitation, found a way to get herself to the rim. Excellent finish, Maddie Rochi.
Mitchell get herself into the game. She does. The 7th shot drops and tips on the score sheet. Blitzarves versus Murray. Short. Sarah goes after her own ball and wins it.
That's the little things that the Boomers can't afford to do. At halftime, at quarter time, they already had 4 offensive boards Southside, so they need to take care of that business.
Offensive foul called on Maddie Rochi. It was a travel.
Travel.
My bad.
Said she dragged the back foot.
Approaching the midway point of this second quarter.
I really like how both Rochi and Wallace, whilst they've had a fierce battle in game 1 and 2, and it's a battle today, they are both what I talked about, composed. They just look like they're both really focused and mentally in control.
I haven't seen the same overflowing of emotion so far in this game. It's been, as you said, a real steely determination from both teams.
Having said that, we are only in the second quarter.
Yeah, give them time. That pass from Mitchell, almost broken up, and George manages to pick up the loose ball and score. Yeah, still plenty of time for the heat to be added to this one. Kayla in a double figures. She's up to 11. While the other Kayla still sits on the bike in the top left corner of your screen. Rochi, Ernst from long range. Foul again on the Boomers from long range. Wow.
Yeah, Dota just, she had her hand up and then just brought it down as that shot was released. It didn't really affect the shot, but it was the action of bringing her hand down that then extended it.
Yeah, and I mean, really don't challenge that one. It was a rush three-pointer anyway from Ernst. You know, be there, but those are the killers when you let them off the hook. You know, interesting. Southside Flyers just haven't found a way to really attack those mismatches. They're not recognising it early. By the time they do recognise it, Melbourne Boomers defence has packed in and taken that option away.
Ernst, reliable from the strike. She gives Southside back the lead. So Nelson Adota sits with 2 fouls. Thornton has 2 for Southside. Other than that, no foul problems to speak of at this stage. Both the first 2 games in this series, both influenced by the foul count, players needing to sit early. No such issues tonight. Wallace goes herself, can't finish, then knocks it away from Ernst. Wins her own ball, needs support, none there. Melbourne already pushed back in defensive transition, and Cole had it to herself off to Blitzarves, and they make them pay.
From the 45, that's her 3rd 3 from that same position, either side of the court. Blitzarves is on fire from the 3-point line.
Well, she had 18 points the first game, 15 points the second game, and is their leading scorer right now with 11 points. She is really owning this series for the Flyers.
As we mentioned earlier, she lit the Boomers up for a career-high 41 points earlier in the season, and Graphic was with shots like that from those positions.
That's it. I mean, she racks up, you know, she'll rack up 12 or 15 just from the 3-point line on open threes, kick-out threes, transition threes. Then she's got the talent to get it on the rim. She can post up a smaller opponent. She's an excellent free throw shooter, and particularly in the absence of Thornton, who's on the bench with 2 fouls and maybe nursing that ankle injury.
Mitchell just not quite finding her range at the moment. Trouble once again. Doesn't go this time. Cole scraps and wins the foul. So good moments here for the Flyers. They're out to a 4-point lead.
How can the Boomers respond? How can they react to this? Do they just, you know, hold their composure?
Ernst from the inbound adds to their lead. They're up by 6.
Momentum timeout. Coach Chris Lucas, he doesn't want to let this chip out any more than 6 points.
This timeout brought to you by CTM Sport. If you're planning on travelling interstate, get a hold of CTM Sport online. Let's take him inside the Boomers huddle. Here's Chris Lucas.
Right, hey, really good effort there, okay? Now, we need ball movement. We need ball movement, we need inside touches, and we've got to get stops down here, all right? We move the ball quickly, okay? Just slow down, guys, okay? Post catches, movement off there, all right? Go to Yukon with the pick and roll, okay? If it's Mia, you can ghost out of it, okay? And then we go downhill, all right? Follow it up with a loop up. Loop up.
Let's head to Candy, who was in the Southside huddle.
It was a simple message this time out, all about defense, building that momentum. I did a quick check-in on Kayla as well. Absolutely fine physically. They're just keeping her out because of foul trouble.
We saw Chris Lucas command from his team. Get the ball back inside. Go back to what was working for them in that first quarter in particular. Can they get the ball inside, move the ball? The ball right now is sticking with a handler. Christy Wallace with the hook foul.
That's her second.
And that's the one part of her game that she does do, is just tries to create a bit more space. And when you have the likes of Maddie Rocci or Conti up in your grill, you've just got to have that restraint to not put that arm bar out.
And that hurts even more. Flyers with all the momentum, all of a sudden they lead by 9.
Mia Murray could not have done anything else. That was just an unbelievable shot by Carly Ernst.
And Mitchell get going. Here's George to respond. The Boomers need it. And Kayla, as she's done all season, steps up.
Huge Kayla George.
Back to 6. Critical basket.
Now they've got to defend. For the Melbourne Boomers, it's about, can they get a stop?
Conti. Blitzarves has been the danger. Rocci and Conti on the floor together. Ernst trying to create some space. Rocci, Potch, there is Carly. Won't drop for her. Rattles off the iron and out. Here comes Wallace. Over the top. Murray for the finish. Has to go again. It's not clear. It'll remain a Boomers ball, but that's indicative at the moment of the Boomers just having some opportunities, looking a little nervy.
A little bit tight. You know, this little lead's pushed out. You'd say it almost feels like it's close to a 10-point lead if it wasn't for that Kayla George 3. It feels like 10. There's a bit of scoreboard pressure. They're tightening up a little bit, not executing passes.
To take you into the Southside huddle now. Cheryl Chambers with her team has a 6-point lead with just over 3 minutes to play in the opening half.
It's all about defending and then getting out. Any type of rebound, let's get that. Okay? Offensively, like just like we don't got Blair again. Yeah, let's go on to Blair again. I just like a pop high. Anyway, let's go. We got to rebound and play. Swing to go. Blair is going to flip on it. Okay? We're just going to defend still. Follow the scout. Here we go. Outside.
So what's changed? At one stage, it felt like the Boomers were in charge of the game, Laurie, and they had it on their terms, albeit only a half a dozen point lead, but things have swung significantly towards Southside.
Well, I think the level of physicality has increased since about the 5 or 6 minute mark of this game, and I feel like that's benefited Southside at this stage.
Kayla Thornton back into the game, as you can see. Here's George. Good start from Kayla George.
The MVP steps up just when they need her.
It's always good when you come out of a timeout and execute a play and get a score.
Ernst. Wallace tries to get there and put pressure on the shot. She does. It's back to 4 points. And once again, the momentum changes. That one from Wallace won't go. Murray comes over the top.
See, I like that consistency. They're calling it against Southside. Exactly what they called at the other end, where on that rebound, they're almost stepping back underneath the player, and that's what it made it look like Murray was coming over top. I thought they've been very consistent with that call.
Graffy.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Often a taller opponent can lean over the top of a smaller opponent. You see another little two-footer missed by the Melbourne Boomers.
By Mitchell, who's now 1 for 9. Rocci to Conti.
See, Thornton's back on the court.
Up from Mon won't go. Can George keep it alive? She can't. Just those little things not working for the Boomers right now.
Yeah, those possession plays, they've got a hand on it and it goes out of bounds. But, I mean, better that than it spitting back out to the Southside Flyers. But there's just those little 1%ers right now that are not going the Melbourne Boomers' ways. They can't get a handle on the ball. Having said that, they're only 4 down.
Flyers done a super job ratcheting up the pressure in this second term. Blitzarves, Bishop, Conti, Rocci. Feeds Thornton. Shot clock down to 3. Wide open shot again for Blitzarves. Rare miss for Sarah. She's been deadly so far tonight. Mitchell slings it to Murray. Wallace to George. Now Leilani. Wraps around. Feeds George. Back to Lay. Back to Kayla. Gets the space she was looking for. Rattles out. Once again, Maddie Rocci happy. try and speed the game up, and this time she's stripped. Wallace takes it, finishes, no, and another miss in close for the Boomers. It remains at 4.
Well, I'm going to say they've almost got the yips on the 2-footers.
Feels like a big bucket, this next one. Thornton steps up. That won't go, but again, a deep foul from the Boomers.
So you go from a great steal, a great defensive, series from the Boomers, miss that layup, and then come back, defend the 3, and then foul. Yeah,
the fouling on their 3-point shooters is really hurting the Melbourne Boomers right now.
Kayla shoots the free throws at 84%.
Beautiful technique, smooth, dead straight.
So it's really important for the Boomers this last minute and a half that they just wash that off and make sure that they don't let this blow out anymore going into halftime.
Yeah, this is classic. How to control momentum. Can they execute their offense? Can they get the ball inside, as Coach Chris Lucas commanded from his previous timeout? And then they've got to find a way to get stops and not foul shooters.
7-point game. Lani looking for an option. George is that option. Thornton with the job on her. Can Mitchell get something going here for Melbourne? Tiff tries to drive through on Cole. It won't go. She fights herself. Can't do it. 1 for 10 for Tiff. And a travel there from Maddie Rocci, who screams at herself in frustration.
Yeah, the tension across, all the athletes, little travel calls, a little bumble of the ball, not getting possession, missing 2-foot attempts that they'd normally make.
Melbourne average 87 points a game. The Flyers 84. They sit on 36-29 with a minute left to halftime. That kind of sums it up. It is tight and tense right now. Final minute. George Ortlep's into the game for Melbourne. Gets to the rack herself and one.
A strong finish by Taylor Ortlep.
And draws that foul on Rocci. Rocci's second.
You could just see her eyes up on that target the whole time. So she was focused and knew exactly where she was and where she should put the ball.
Big play from Taylor Ortlep when the Boomers needed it. Now she just needs to finish. Back to 4.
Big play off the bench. And you can get bench productivity like that.
Conti. Mitchell and Cole collide. Ball goes out.
Two possessions you'd suggest left in this second quarter.
24-second differential between game and shot clock. It's Bishop. Conti against Mitchell. His blitz arm's been dangerous from long range. Bishop fouled.
Wow.
And they are in the bonus.
Interesting there. Shot clock right down. Mia Murray with a little poke as that feed came into Bishop.
A lot of little things in games like this become big things, don't they, Graffy? It's just the little things at the moment for the Boomers that are probably driving Chris Lucas mad.
Absolutely. They've had such good opportunities on the break, but it's almost like the pressure and the tension. And playoff games are all about that. How well can you apply pressure and how well can you handle pressure?
So there'll be a 1.9-second differential between shot and game clock. Boomers, you'd expect, will run this down. Get a good play here through the hands of Leilani Mitchell.
To go back inside, get it down low to Kayla George.
George versus Thornton's one matchup. This is Mitchell versus Blitzarves. Will Tiff go herself? Will she take on Thornton?
Ooh, big.
That's a foul, and that's a big one.
Third foul for Thornton.
Just before the halftime break, a third foul on Kayla Thornton.
Massive play, smart play by the Melbourne Boomers. They got Thornton engaged in that switch action. She's subbed out.
So it wasn't in the active shooting, so they'll get it on the baseline with 6.2 seconds to go in the quarter.
onto something here. Murray, Mitchell. Tiff setting up to go herself. She will. Tough finish, won't go. Tough first half for Tiff Mitchell. Southside 38, Melbourne 32. Was the Flyers by 1 point at quarter time. 22 points to 17 in that second term, and they lead it by 6 at the major break. Carrie Graff, Laurie Chiswick, your thoughts?
Look, defensive grind. Both teams, I think, have been exceptional defensively on the whole part. You know, defending to their scouts, to their game plan. We're seeing different actions against the ball screen defense. I think Cole has done a great job on Tiff Mitchell. She hasn't fouled her. She's kept her in front. But the nerves from both teams on bobbling the ball, letting it loose, that's had a real impact. But this is a defensive grind.
Sarah Blitzarms leads the game for the Flyers with 11 points. Here she is with Candy.
Yeah, she sure does. Sarah, that was a tough first quarter. A lot of fumbles, a lot of mistakes from both teams. Seems like there was some nerves on the court, but then the game came alive that second quarter. What changed for you?
Yeah, definitely nervous energy. You could see it out there. I think for us, we're just trying to stay composed and get through our offense. But like you said, a fair few turnovers. So something we'll be looking at to fixing up in the next half.
Now, it does look like you got the game back on your terms. A lot more physical that second quarter. What can we expect this next half?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a physical match for the second half. We know what Melbourne are like. We like to give it back to them, but they can come out and score from anywhere. So defense, #1 focus, and we'll just see how we go.
A couple of great threes from you as well, Sarah. Are you aiming for that 41 again?
I think they'll take a lot out of me for the second half. I just want to win. That's my main focus.
Good job. Keep going, Sarah.
Southside by 6 at half-time. It's the Flyers 38, the Boomers 32. Back with Laurie and Graffy to analyse the first half next. Tight, tense and tough in the opening half. State Basketball Centre, Game 3, series decided between the Flyers and the Boomers. It was the Flyers by 1 point at quarter time, 6 points at the half, 38 points to 32. And for two teams who average Carey Graff in the high or the mid to high 80s, that scoreline says it all.
Defensive grind, half-court grind, but that's what playoffs are all about, particularly Game 3 of any series, because it's all on the line. You don't. It's not as free-flowing, but this is a defensive grind, and there's still a bit of nerves.
Laurie, the Flyers shoot at 45%. They're going at 32 tonight. The Boomers go at 48. They're going at 36. So both teams well down. How much of that is contributed to themselves, self-inflicted damage, and how much do you credit the defences of both teams?
Well, I'd give quite a bit of respect to both defences. I think if you talk to both coaches, the first thing they would say is we have to focus on defense, and I think both teams have. I like their rotations. I like the way they're doubling aggressively. They seem to be sticking to their scouts, both teams. I think there were some nerves in some of the shots, especially for the Boomers, some of their easy early looks. So their percentage certainly is down a little bit.
Not a lot in the overall stat count there, Graffy, and we look through even greater stats than, broader stats than that. We've had a look at the stat sheet at halftime. Not a lot. The Tiff Mitchell one's interesting. 1 for 11, the Leeds leading scorer. Again, she's missed some shots that she could have made, but at the same time, Southside defending her really closely.
Yeah, look, and I think Beck Cole in particular has done a great job on her. Kept her in front, made her shoot over her hand. But I think the difference for the Southside Flyers is they're only 29% from the three-point line. And I think that's been a tactic for the Melbourne Boomers. They've dared them spit the ball out, contain penetration, pack it in, and dare them to shoot the three. Having said that, on 3 occasions, the Melbourne Boomers have fouled Southside on the three-point shot where, that's that fine line. Yes, you want to challenge the three, but you don't want to send them to the line to shoot 3 free throws.
So, Laurie, if you're Cheryl Chambers in the Flyers rooms at the moment, what's your message?
Well, I think the same, it would be to make sure that you're playing the same sort of defense on Tiff Mitchell. She's such an explosive player. She can have such an impact. And the way they're defending her right now, it's frustrating her. You can see that. So they would want to keep that message going for sure in this next half.
And Graffy for Chris Lucas?
I think he's got to go back to going inside. Early in the game, Kayla George looked so good when they went inside to keep moving the ball, running their sets. And I think they've got to attack early. Go at Thornton. Thornton's got 3 fouls. We know that ankle, how is she, but 3 fouls. Can you get a cheapie on her early? So I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and run at her early in this third quarter.
The winner will progress to face the Townsville Fire, who swept the Perth Lynx in the other semi-final series. Still plenty of basketball left in this one. It is 38-32 at the half. Back with more shortly. No, that's good. The Boomers led by 5 early. Southside got in front, got out to a 9-point lead, and at the half they lead by 6 points. It's the Flyers 38, the Boomers 32 as we get ready for third quarter action. Candy is with injured Boomer Tess Madgen.
Tess, tell me about this halftime break. What did you guys talk about?
Yeah, we've obviously got a few areas to fix up. You know, they've got 7 offensive rebounds, so we need to rebound better and clean up the turnovers, and move the ball a little bit more on offense. But we're pretty happy. You know, we haven't played our best basketball and we're only down 6.
You're telling me about the technical stuff. Now tell me about the emotion. What was the feeling like in the room?
Yeah, it was pretty fired up. Of course, it's, you know, do or die. We've only got 20 minutes left of our season potentially, so we definitely don't want that to be the case. So everyone was pretty amped up and ready to give it, you know, their all for the last 20 minutes.
Tess, I know you have been aching to get on the court this season. How much are you wishing that was the case today?
Oh, Kenny, I'm so nervous. I'm like trying to not project all my nervous energy onto the plays. But, you know, they've done a great job all season. I'm so proud of them and how hard they're fighting tonight. So, you know, obviously I wish I could be out there, but trying to do my best to support them on the sideline.
Well, you are doing an exceptional job on the bench. That leadership is really coming through for our Opals captain. And Tess, good luck for the team in this next half.
Thank you, Candy.
Thanks to Tess Madgen. Kayla George with 16 points for the Boomers. Christy Wallace next with 6. While for Southside, 11 for Sarah Blitzarves, 8 each for Ernst and Thornton, 4 for Abby Bishop. Foul situation, interesting one. Kayla Thornton on 3 fouls. Graffy, what do you do with Kayla Thornton from here?
Look, maybe they switch the matchups. I'd maybe put her on Mia Murray. Mia Murray's not going to be able to draw a foul on her necessarily, you know, with her foot speed. She's a 3-point specialist. That's an easier guard for her rather than play on Kayla George, who would look to take her down low, or one of the other perimeter players. So maybe you've got a bit of a safety net there. Having said that, you know, veteran star players are pretty good at protecting fouls, but you don't want to risk a fourth early in this third quarter. But I'd change a matchup and put her on somewhere where she's less likely to be involved in a situation where she can get a cheap foul call.
Nerves on both sides, nerves in the crowd. Tense atmosphere at State Basketball Centre.
Interestingly, the nerves not often, for my mind, Laurie, are the nerves this overt still in like a second quarter.
Yeah.
You know, that normally they've sort of eked their way out in the first, you know, 3 to 6 minutes of the game, but we saw them in the second quarter. We saw the ball bubbled out of people's hands. We saw, and yes, the defense was collapsing, but the shots, 2-foot shots missed, you know, fast break opportunities missed through turnovers.
Yeah, I agree. Usually once the game gets underway, those nerves sort of evaporate and you just get stuck into the game. We'll see what happens the second half.
What does the third quarter have in store? Half of basketball to determine who will join the Townsville Fire in the 2022-23 Cygnett WNBL Grand Final. Game 1 in Townsville Saturday night. Right now it's the Flyers by 6 as we start the second half. Wallace to George, to Murray, to Mitchell. And they get Tiff going in the second half. They put it in her hands and she scores straight away.
And I think that's a really good look by Coach Chris Lucas to set something up for Mitchell. Get her going, get her involved, get her confidence back.
Cole had to navigate about 4 screens then.
Here's Blitzarves. Gets Adota airborne, and then Olivia stuck to the task and wins the ball as it ricochets off the head of Sarah Blitzarves.
Great start for the Melbourne Boomers. Well executed first set coming out of the halftime. Then a great defensive stop at the other end. That's the way you control momentum.
We know Nelson Adota leads the league in block shot.
They go to Mitchell again, and this time she draws the foul.
I like it for Tiff Mitchell and their focus. She was kept so quiet and just so so well guarded in that first half. It's great to see that she's, you know, letting loose right now.
And as you say, Laurie, the coaches have said, let's go to her. Let's run her off. You know, she ran off about 4 picks on the last set. This time puts the ball on the deck and does what she does super well, and that is get to the rim.
Leading scorer in the league this season, held to just 2 points in the first half. She's already got 3 to start this third term. You can make it 4. Boomers back within 2. Good start for them. Cole to Thornton. Blitzarves, who just looms as the big danger. Works with Bishop, gets it to Rochi. Back to Abby. Abby Rochi, slight fumble, regathers, shoots. And Wallace takes the long rebound. Lays it off again. They look for Mitchell. This time to the corner for Murray. Good close out there by Cole. George to Wallace. Will she take Rochi on or go to Mitchell? She goes to Mitchell. Runs into some traffic. George. Murray.
Wow. Okay, now everything is going the Boomers' way right now. That ball movement, that extra pass to Murray in the corner.
Well done, Thornton. Stuck to it. Mitchell almost broke it up. Southside back in front.
Good straight back answer. Inside to Mitchell with a little bit of a mismatch down low there.
It's to Murray. George back. She keeps it herself. Uses that move to great effect at times. Here is Christie. Big screen off the ball. Not called. Shot won't drop. Southside have it. And now Sarah Blitzarves calls for calm. Ritchie to Thornton to Cole.
Both teams happy to grind out their half-court offense.
Rochi. Thornton's wide open. They did well to get her there. Shot wouldn't go, but Bishop keeps it alive.
Over 19 from the three-point line for the Southside Flyers.
Keep pulling the trigger.
5 seconds on the shot clock.
Cole. Thornton wants to work. Mitchell came across as extra support. Won't get the shot away.
She'll make one.
No count. Referees have ruled shot clock violation.
It was the correct extra pass. Just weren't quite clock aware.
George to Murray. With Mitchell. He's got Kayla in position. Goes herself. Draws a foul on Bishop. If Mitchell, look at the body language, Graffy. Focused.
You know, she looked a little tense in that second quarter when she was struggling to get loose. Then run some plays for her early to get involved. You can see her mindset's back on track here. She's focused. She's on task.
So Laurie, from a Southside perspective, they can see it, they can sense it. They're only feet away from Tiff Mitchell. What's the instruction now to try and hose Mitchell back down again?
Well, I'm sure if we see her score much more, Cheryl's going to have to call a timeout. They have switched. So you were right, Graffy. Thornton initially went on Murray, but now she's back on George, so that Blitzovs is on Tiff Mitchell now. So they're trying some different options out there, which is what you have to do, but keep going after.
Top defense came across from Mitchell on Bishop. Foul called in the process.
Referee's calling it pretty tight now. Anything that goes inside on a downhill drive, they're making a call on. Into the post play, they're making a call.
So that's a third on Olivia Nelson-Adoda. She's got 3, 2 each from Mitchell and Wallace. While Thornton and Rochi have 3 apiece. And Olivia will sit down as a result. Panina Davidson back into the game for Melbourne, and a chance here for Abby Bishop to tie things up once again. Short
free throw often speaks to a bit of pressure, a bit of nerves, Laurie.
It certainly does. Whoa.
This is both. The ball feeling like a house brick at the moment.
Sure is. What an arm wrestle we've got going here. Neither team can break it loose. Is Mitchell again on the penetration.
What a sign of a great player. And as we said, there Cheryl Chambers is calling a timeout. She needs to do something different there. Mitchell is just taking this third quarter by storm.
2 points in the first half, 9 points in the first 3 minutes of the second half. This timeout brought to you by Cygnett. Great range of Australian charging accessories. Get online and check them out at Cygnett. Here's Cheryl.
To the rack, okay? That way you'd be ready to switch out in case you need to, but just get through. She's just going to the rack, all right? Everything's fine. We're going to go 5 down next time. See if we can get you a seal in here. If not, we've got the high-low going, all right? Everything's fine, all right? 5 down, a score, and let's go. Southside.
Well, interesting there. You know, Coach Cheryl Chambers keeping it calm for a team. Everything's fine. That's what their way of saying. Just maintain a composure. It's only a 4-point differential. We've got to address something with Mitchell. And critically for me is look, it's easier said than done to contain it. Start with that. You've got to be able to contain it. But secondly, bring the defence earlier. You know, their rotations aren't on time. They're not packing in the key way. I think they've got to do something in the action when she penetrates.
Or the other option is, Gruffy, is that you could stand right off her and say, shoot the ball. You're hurting us right now going downhill. Having said that, she is a 44% shooter from the three-point line, so that could be dangerous.
What a pleasure it is to sit here and listen to the great minds of Carrie Graff and Laurie Chiswick break down this game for us in real time. The Boomers on a 12-2 run to start this second half, and Mitchell's got 9 of those 12 points. What can Southside do out of the timeout? Cole, Thornton and George, and that's on Thornton, and that's a 4th foul on Kayla Thornton.
Ouch. Wow, that hurts the Southside Flyers. Their star player who's nursing an ankle injury gets her 4th.
Here's another look.
Callable, you know, she lifted that elbow to try and create that post space, but I think you got to let the big girls play down low.
Kayla Thornton sits down. Momentum at the moment in Lavender. Murray. On iron. Southside need a steadier. Blitzarve so often their go-to in this situation. Cole, Rochi. Runs into the land of the Giants. Back out to Blitzarves. Doesn't pull the trigger. Rochi hangs on again. Once again, she'll want to take on Davidson. Great recognition from Rochi.
Excellent composure. Just, you know, shot clock running down. She knows she can get downhill and she finds a way to finish against the tall timbers inside. Excellent play, Maddie Rochi.
Such poise and patience with that graphic. Such good decision making.
Wallace back in the game. There's that jumper. This time it won't go. Foul.
This time on Davidson. Referees have been pretty consistent with those sort of rebounding plays, saying, you know, either calling someone over the back or a block-out player pushing out that offensive rebound. At that time on Davidson.
Well, that's right. So whether you agree with the way they're calling it or not, they have been consistent. And I guess as long as that consistency, then you can tell your players, this is the way they're calling it. Make sure you're just straight up.
Great to see Robin Marr, Michelle Timms, 2 legends of the game, sitting there behind the Flyers bench. They've both got tension on their face as well. Cole. Southside square it up again or hit the front. Blitzarves. Rochi thought about the 3. Shot clock down to 5. Does Beck go herself? She does. Murray gets across. Well finished. Beck Cole scores level.
She finds a way, Beck Cole. I'm going to say it, and look, I love her as a defender. That is one of the ugliest finishes, but my God, she can find a way to put it in.
She's been really good this series.
Watch now with the job maybe on Mitchell. Tiff elevates and draws another foul.
Gosh, the focus on Tiff Mitchell's face. She's all eyes on the bucket. You know, we heard her in the opener saying she came out to Australia again to win a championship, nothing less. She's here to try and do what she can for her team. She carried them over the line.
So on Twitter today, Chris Lucas saying she's the most professional import he's ever dealt with in his 350 games of WNBL.
It's a big rap.
She's always out there 2.5 hours before the game on court by herself, putting up literally hundreds of shots.
Yeah, no wonder she shoots the clip she shoots, but you know, she finds so many ways to score.
Oh, doesn't make those free throws though, and scores remain level. And away comes Maddie Rochi. Wallace has got that covered. What a tactical battle. What an arm wrestle this has been. And we're still no closer to knowing who's going to be joining Townsville in the grand final. Midway through this third term, 44 apiece. Wallace, Mitchell, George. Inside to Tiff, loses her footing, Southside ball. Beck Cole probing, feeds it through. Rochi, Potch, steps inside, little floater is beautiful.
Wow, little throw down to the floater runner, Potch. This kid, hasn't she had a breakout season?
Oh my goodness, how old is she? 19, 20 years old?
These situations for an 18-year-old, Laurie, just not flustered, and she's given Southside the lead once again. George tried to hand it off to Murray, and that one's taken away by Southside once again. Suddenly, the Flyers getting a bit of momentum back. Wallace tries to slap it away, does. She's got George or can go herself. Goes to Kayla, steps back for the extra point and makes it.
Courageous. Steps out to the three-point line on that break and just dares you, says, I'm gonna put a dagger in your heart right now.
Well, it started with Christy Wallace, could have finished it herself and went, no, I'm gonna back my teammate, back my captain.
Mitchell lunges at Potch. Boomers up by a point. This game just building magnificently. Cole. Confronted by Davidson. Swatted away by George. Here comes Wallace. She's got Mitchell to the outside. George in the middle. Wallace goes herself, draws a foul on Rocci, and they both hit the deck hard.
I think the foul was called before she went into the act of shooting. She just decided to continue on.
Oh, have a second bite.
It was a heavy collision in a series that's had plenty of heavy collisions. Laurie, your thoughts?
I'm loving it. I think the physicality out there has gone up a notch, but it's good physicality for a final series. And both teams, I like the way Graffi, they are executing. Both players, both teams have to navigate all these screens. Am I going under? Am I getting bumped? All those things are creating some really good open looks.
So 4 fouls on Thornton. Now there's 4 on Maddie Rocci as well, as Wallace makes them both. And this game is just swinging one way and the other by the minute. It's the Boomers now on top by 3. Potch beats Mitchell, runs into some traffic and draws a foul.
How good has Potch been coming off the bench, Graffi?
Yeah, she's been impressive, you know. And these are big games for younger players, but she's just playing the way she does. She's got that nice little throwdown move and she can get into the lane. We saw her there draw a foul. The referees, at the moment, you get your feet in the key and go at it hard, you're gonna get a call.
We spoke of the fearlessness born of youth.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what Nadia Potch has got. Just that freedom, Laurie, that you often get with younger players. They just go out and play. They don't know what they don't know.
Exactly right. And this is a massive game.
Can't convert the free throw. George brings it down the floor. Blitzarves puts some pressure on, needs to get it in the front court and does just.
Almost an 8-second violation.
Wallace hits the accelerator, feeds Davidson. Boomers up by 5.
Christy Wallace starting to light it up now too. She's liking her chances getting downhill.
And no Maddie Rocci, of course, with the 4 fouls. She sits down, so she's got Conti to deal with at the moment. Blitzarve steps up. Oh, they needed that. Pump that, she says.
What an answer by Sarah Blitzarve. She has been absolutely sensational this game and in game 1 and 2.
Goes the other way. Wallace puts the shoulder into Conti, and Mon gets the offensive foul.
That was really unnecessary for Wallace to, and that's just something she's got to take out of her game, whether it's extending her arm or leaving into her defender. That's a bit costly at this stage of the game.
That's her 4th.
Wow, the foul count impacting both teams. Thornton and Rocci for the Southside Flyers. Wallace now for the Melbourne Boomers. Foul trouble.
2-point game. Southside ball, and once again, everything just swings on one play. Now Wallace is out of the game. Cole wants to take on Murray. Bishop versus Davidson. Abby shoots over the top.
Wow. Bishop over a hand on the bounce from the 3-point line. Massive bucket for the Flyers.
Leilani Mitchell back in. Can't finish. Davidson scraps. Leilani, Conti, Southside ball.
Well, Monconti's defence in this last minute or two has been exceptional. Making things happen. Taking that charge early on Wallace to get her 4th.
Pressure just continues to build. We approach the 2-minute mark in this 3rd term. Scores level at 51 apiece.
Well, we always knew it could come down to depth. Which team has most of the depth out there? And we've always talked about Southside Flyers having depth. But, you know, Penina Davidson, Leilani Mitchell, they've done a great job for the Boomers so far.
Watch to Cole. Beck steps out. Goes to Potch. Loses her footing. And makes the shot!
Potch finds a finish. Fearless.
And there's another bench player. Potch up to 6 points now.
Well done, Bishop. Davidson follows it in. Can she put it back? It's knocked away by Potch once again.
Wow, the persistence on the possession play right now.
That's Southside in control all of a sudden. Conti flashes the pass to Bishop. Now to Cole. Can Melbourne get a stop? Beck wants to take on Murray. Little floater. Murray comes away with it.
I'd like to see Tiff Mitchell get involved in this last minute and a half.
Ball in the hands of Leilani Mitchell. She'll run something to get the right people open. Great basketball mind, high IQ.
Here's Tiff Mitchell. Shot clock down to 8. Being harassed by Conti, spins away from her, gets open, won't finish. Davidson crashes in, keeps it alive. Leilani goes early.
Huge possession play, Davidson.
Now Conti slows it down. 37 seconds left in the third term. Flies have got themselves back in front. Cole, Bishop, shot clock to 5. Does Beck put it on the floor? She does. Mitchell comes across to help.
Just great ball movement, ball and player movement by the Flyers. So they got it through hands, they have screens to navigate, and then ends with Beck Cole driving it in hard.
They've just winded herself as she landed, catching her breath.
Yeah, pretty big hit there, Beck Cole, and she's tough, she's rugged, and she plays at such high intensity, especially defensively.
She heads to the line, she can double this lead. It sits at 2.
Really worked over her career. She's had many incarnations of that free throw technique, but she's found one that suits her well.
84% career, elite numbers. She makes them both under pressure. It's a 4-point game. 2.5 second differential between shot and game clock. Brought that to George. Leilani to Tiff Mitchell. Wants to put a step on Potch, who's there again. Davidson cleans it up. Still 5 seconds for the Boomers. Mitchell's got to go now. Will Leilani go herself? She will. Flat shot won't go. Davidson crashes in. It's still there. Conti grabs it. Foul. Costly foul. With a split second left, they are in the bonus. And again, the little things become big things.
They do, but, I mean, Davidson's endeavour to stay on the plate, you know, callable, but do you call that one? You know, dived at the ball.
That just, to me, looked like two players going after a loose ball.
And with, you know, momentum swinging here, 0.1 of a second. Free throws for Conti.
One takes a deep breath.
Clutch free throw.
This is the second. And as we turn for home in the Game 3 series decider, Southside led by 6 at the half. The Boomers came out and scored 12 of the first 14 points to take the lead. Southside worked their way back. And with 1 quarter to play in this thrilling Game 3, it's Southside 56, Melbourne 51.
What do you want to run offensively? If you want to go Chicago and go inside. Contain on our switching from anything up here, we're closing out with our left foot down and giving right-hand drives down the lane. It's supposed to be left foot up on the outside shoulder. Can't give right-hand drivers right hand. Okay? Offensively. Go Chicago. Right, Chicago. Liv, you're here. Lay. Mia, come out of the corner, make that catch. Okay, catch it to Liv. All right, tip, up screen Kayla. Up screen Kayla on this catch. We're having a look at that, or you get separation, back to a step up. Okay? All right, we're good with that. Guys, we're okay. All right? Don't let the emotion take away our focus. Be really disciplined now. Hand on shooters. Okay?
Southside Flyers have led at every change. 1 point, 6 points, and 5 points with 1 quarter to play in this Game 3 series decider. Laurie Chiswick, Carrie Graff.
Wow, what a ball game. It's an arm wrestle, it's a defensive grind. Both teams with some key players in foul trouble. How's that going to impact down the stretch?
4 for Thornton, 4 for Rochi, 4 for Wallace. Bishop to Conti.
Good patience by the Southside Flyers right now.
Back to Mon. Foul. Off the ball. Third on Tiff Mitchell as we head courtside to Candy.
Yeah, guys, I popped my head into both of those three-quarter times. At Southside, there was a real passion and an intense energy through the team, whereas at the Boomers, it was a lot calmer. The team felt very connected, really just got a very different energy between the two teams. Talk about energy, in here it is nuts. I have no idea if you guys can get a sense of it, but let me just tell you, I don't know what the split is, maybe 40-60 to the number of Boomers players, Boomers fans versus Southside fans, but it is loud and it is passionate.
And it's only going to get louder. Abby Bishop.
It's a little leaner. Takes on Nelson Adota. Like the look of that one-on-one for herself, did Bishop.
So a handy little 7-point buffer here. How can Melbourne respond? Well done, Poch. Got in to break up that pass. It'll remain a Boomers ball.
Bishop has been really good, rock solid. She's bringing all her years of experience to this game and is such an influence with the rest of the players.
Particularly on the possession play, Laurie, keeping a hand on the ball, using her length to keep the ball alive.
Critical minutes here. Did Kayla touch that? She did. Southside ball. Blitzarves did enough. Got a hand on it. Then it deflected off George. Kayla arguing the call.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think Kayla was right. Blitzarves deflected it, and then Kayla grabbed it.
Opportunity here for Southside. They lead by 7. Well done. Cole somehow got it back. Got her own ball back. Well, ball called.
She stays on plays. Her persistence is phenomenal. You know, made an error there, straight away stayed on the play. Comes up with the ball amongst 4 players.
Possession arrow, Melbourne's. So the Boomers will get it. Frustrated Bet Cole there. Winner to the grand final. The loser, season over. These two great rivals, another chapter in this storied 30-year history. George receives from Nelson Adota. Wants to take on Blitzarves. Spins again. It's short. Here comes Mitchell.
Great D, Sarah Blitzarves then, but Mitchell, you know, the great players come up with cheap buckets too. Read that, got the offensive board, easy 2 points to increase her tally.
So Rochi, Thornton, Wallace all on the bench with 4 fouls. Blitzarves puts it on the floor. Mitchell gets across again to provide support. And the Boomers come up with another big stop.
That's just what they need, this momentum. They want it to swing there. There's lots of time left in this game.
Nia Murray, the veteran, has just played her role tonight. Only put up the 3 shots. But she can be so dangerous, particularly in the clutch. Mitchell was trying to feed it through to Nelson Adota. Good work from Southside. And Abby Bishop says everyone just settle down.
It'll be interesting to see how both coaches hold on to their players on the bench with 4 fouls. Do you bite the bullet and get Wallace back in? Do you Thornton? How, you know, right now the Flyers have a little bit more of a cushion.
Well done, Mitchell, and it's off Poch. And the nerves continue. The pressure continues to build, Graffy.
It does. And look, the deflections and the ball pressure from both teams, you know, that they're getting hands in passing lanes. There's a little bit of wing denial.
And Wallace is back in the game. Laurie Chiswick read it perfectly. Here's Leilani Mitchell to George. What a battle it's been between George and Blitzarves, 2 great veterans. George goes at it, can't finish. Bishop.
It's really important when that ball goes inside. They need movement off the ball to give Kayla an option to pass it if she's not going to take her one-on-one.
Blitzarves to Poch. Southside sitting on a 5-point lead. Offensive foul off the ball as George hits the floor.
Veteran play there by Kayla George.
First foul on Non-Conti.
I'm not sure how a 6'3", 6'3" athlete hits the deck when you're screened up by someone that's about 5'4". But again, oh look, yeah, Taylor savvy. I'll just put my arm around. I'll put my arm around your neck and then fall on the ground. And referee, thank you very much. Smart play. The veterans know how to come up with big plays.
Mitchell to Mitchell. Leilani to Tiff. Nelson Adoda against Bishop. Bishop fouled. Puts her hand up and says, "Yep."
We haven't really said the name Nelson Adoda much in this second half in particular, and so for her to come in and step up that right now, she needs to nail these foul shots.
Yeah, she had 3 fouls in the first half, so spent some time on the bench. She's only had 1 shot from the field for the night.
And clearly a tactic for them too. We saw it a little bit earlier in the game. Put the ball on the deck against Bishop. See if you can draw a foul.
Well, up to three-quarter time, the Boomers had only gone to the line. They were 10 from 12 compared to 14 of 21 for the Flyers. So maybe that's a focus. Get your feet in the paint, try and get some fouls and get yourself to the line.
Remembering that stat, the team that wins the free throw count has won every game in the 5 games these two have played this season. And right now it's 21-13 in favour of Southside. Ernst to Blitzarves to Conti. Is Cole against Wallace.
Happy to execute their half-court offence, swing the ball side to side, run people off numerous pick actions.
Mitchell attacks it, hits the floor hard.
So that was just good anticipation and getting the fingers in the passing lane. Ooh, she looks like she's in...
She landed on the ball on her lower back there. She's definitely landed awkwardly.
It's not a good sign for the Melbourne Boomers, perhaps a little bit of cramp.
It's been a physical affair as per usual. Not as many of those driving collisions as we've seen in the first couple of games. It's been a different kind of physicality tonight, Graffy.
Yeah, it has. A bit more physical, I think, certainly on the rebounding contest. Pretty physical on some of the screen action, but you're absolutely right that both teams have made a bit of an adjustment on that, playing a bit more space potentially. And the guards that go downhill, Wallace, we only saw a couple of instances where she really pushed off with that elbow, but agreed, there's been much less of that block charge call for the referees to have to make a big call on tonight.
So Mitchell back up on her feet, just grimacing. She tries to walk it off. So it's a 3-point game, 6:37 left in this Game 3 series decider.
Shout out to Townsville, who I'm sure are sitting up there in Queensland just loving this battle.
Like, go to double OT, just keep belting each other around the ears. Here's Mitchell to tie it up. She does!
Wow. Tiff Mitchell, what a start. 20 seconds ago, she had a cramp.
58 apiece. Bishop. Blitzarves. Can Sarah respond?
Oh, that would have brought the crowd to their feet.
Here's Mitchell again. To the corner for George.
Southside will just control tempo here. Well, Conti's changed her mind. She wants to push tempo.
Pops it over the top. Cole against Mitchell. Tough finish for Beck. In comes Ernst, but George comes up with the board. Now to Mitchell. And Tiff happy to hold it up. Get something set here.
We see Roche and Thornton about to come back in for their team, standing at the score bench waiting for a stoppage in play.
Taylor puts it on the floor and is fouled with the reach in.
Great read by Kayla Thornton on that ball reversal when she got it into her hand just as Ernst is closing out. She just pounded it in, really get the ball low to the ground, and finds herself at the foul line now.
So the moment arrives. Kayla Thornton back into the game. Wallace playing on 4 fouls. Thornton will now be playing on 4 fouls as well. Maddie Roche also into the game as well. So we said the coaches would get to a point where they bite the bullet. Well, that point's arrived. Scores level, 5.5 left. Blocked off the hands of Mitchell. Well done, Nelson Adoda. George, shot clock to 7. Does Mitchell go herself? She does. Spins on Blitzarves, draws a foul.
Tiff Mitchell, the use of her body. She's such a great change of direction. She's got dancing feet. She can move you around. Blitzarves does a great job to use her length. But then Mitchell's just got unbelievable use of her body. She goes and finds the defender's body, forces the referee to make a call.
She's so strong, her athleticism.
We speak about the significance of fouls. The Flyers already in the bonus with 5:18 left. The Boomers have only given away one team foul for the quarter. Might that have something to do in the final result here?
You would think so. And particularly, both these teams shoot the free throw exceptionally well.
Tiff gives Melbourne the lead once again.
Hasn't she had a great second half? Restricted to 2 points in the first half.
15 in the second half so far.
Sign of great players. Hold them down for a half.
16 and the Boomers are up by a bucket.
Turn it around.
What an entertaining game of women's basketball this is for the fans, the viewers.
Just an entertaining game of basketball, full stop, isn't it? Wonderful game. Thornton. Well done, Ernst.
Good execution, Southside. Ernst had her on her back.
And we don't see that a lot of Ernst going down there and posting up and being a target. We know what an excellent three-point shooter she is.
Mitchell wants some speed. Weaves her way through. She finishes, and it's punch for punch right now.
She's got that look that says, I can put the team on my back right here. We're not going to go down without a fight. This one's going to go all the way to the wire. Maybe beyond. Cole, well done, Wallace. Will Beck get back and cover? She's an elite defender. Does enough. Well done, Nelson Adota.
How big is that follow-up by Nelson Adota just to stay in the play, help her teammate out, and was rewarded with a 2.
Boomers up by 4. Timeout called with 4:29 left in the game. This timeout brought to you by DIY Blinds, Australian-made designer-quality window furnishings at the best prices. DIYblinds.com.au. Let's head into the Southside huddle and have a listen to Cheryl Chambers.
You're on her, you're going to stay in front of her the whole time, okay? Get through the gaps here. Step up and take a charge if you need to. We're going to go C-low the old way next time. So Kayla's here, Maddie's got the ball, Coley's here, you're out here, you're down here, okay? We're going to give her the ball, give it back. She's just going to go into the blocks, see what we get out of there, okay?
What a rebound still.
There's plenty of time here, okay? Be tough, be tough. Good leads, good leads. Southside.
I think that final little message of good leads, Gruffy, is really important because that's where you have to be strong. You have to have a good lead so that the Boomers can't get their little fingertips in the way and deflect that ball. So that's a really good last message to send them off with.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's how Melbourne have got this little momentum shift through their defence. We saw Wally come up with a massive steal then to create that, and it's been off the back of Tiff Mitchell's offence. I mean, she's just found a way to score, and then the little things from their role plays, coming up with a big possession play, getting a hand on the possession to keep it alive.
What a great contest this has been right from the outset. Thornton, Potch, Mitchell again lunging, trying to knock it clear. Defensive pressure at its maximum right now. Rochi feeds it through. Ernst spins through, and Mitchell steals it out of her hands for a jump ball.
Again, great execution offensively to get Ernst inside with a mismatch, but even better defense to recognize that and come across and double that.
It'll remain a Southside ball due to the possession arrow.
Yeah, Melbourne Boomers collapsing, packing man-to-man defense when the ball goes in on a pass. They're there early and on time. 4.5 seconds left on the shot clock. What have they got drawn up here? Foul? Off the ball? Kayla George called for pushing off that screen. Boomers have still got a couple of team fouls to give. Flyers already in the bonus. Third foul for Kayla George now. They get a fresh 14 as a result. Bishop. Got some time to use if they want. Cole gets through Mitchell. Wow. Well done, Beck Cole. Lovely finish again.
Well done, Beck Cole is exactly right, Jason. She is really steadying when they need a basket. Just a really...
Is that 5 on Wallace? It is. Christy Wallace checks out of the game with 3:50 left. And this game takes another twist. Yeah, that's a big hurt for the Melbourne Boomers. And they're wrestling for that ball against Rochi, and both were on 4 fouls.
And she knew straight away, as soon as that whistle blew, she was off the court. She'd be so disappointed. But you know what? 3:49 left to go. 2-point game. Still lots of time for either team.
Cole, who's been magnificent. Good find to Maddie there. Defensive breakdown, and they tie it up once more.
Great read, Maddie Rochi. Just faked off that up screen. Took herself straight to the rim. Great counter-attack to that switching defence.
Mitchell against Poch, and Poch called for the foul. And this is going to be a very nervous 3:28. Great crowd in at State Basketball Centre for Game 3, the series decider. It's been tight and tense all night. And a game, really, that deserves a grandstand finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's everything that we thought it would be.
Oh, it certainly is. And I think this is a real, I mean, Melbourne have to keep this in mind, that every time there's a foul, they go to the line. So they will want to stay in attack mode.
And that's where we saw, you know, Leilani Mitchell executing a play that get the ball back in Tiff Mitchell's hands. Tiff just using her dribble penetration skills to sucker a foul.
Makes one, misses the second. Boomers by a point. Rochi to Thornton, to Cole. Back to Maddie. Sitting on 4 fouls. Well done, Nelson Adoda. He's had some big plays to make in this game late. Leilani to Tiff Mitchell. George. Quieter in the second half, just playing her role as Mitchell starts to light it up.
Oh my
Makes
goodness.
it.
Oh my goodness, Tiff Mitchell. How did you get that over Potch's hands, over the other defenders?
Rochi with the answer. Straight back at you, thank you very much.
Fantastic to watch. These two teams just slugging at it here. George, Mitchell, Tiff. Back to George, shot clock to 10. George versus Thornton. Well done, Rochi comes across as help. It'll work. George, Murray. That was tough, but they got it in the end. They lead by 3. Suddenly the tempo is lifted. Rochi runs into George and then pulls out.
Good decision just to slow it down.
3-point game. Poch, Bishop, Rochi, shot clock to 8. Abby, will she put it up herself? She'll go to Nadio. The youngster, the 18-year-old, goes herself, can't finish, it's still there. Bishop, one-handed. Shot clock beats Abby Bishop. Is there a foul called here? Two teams come together, the refs confer, everyone holds their breath.
Bishop with a one-handed rebound there. Referees deciding who was holding who with the other arm. It looks like it's going Southside Flyers' way.
So 4th team foul on the Boomers. It was desperate under the hoop.
Yeah, Tiff Mitchell hooked Bishop's arm underneath. Smart play if you can get away with it.
3rd foul on Tiff Mitchell. 3-point game. Rochi against Leilani. Threatens to pull the trigger. His Blitzarbs. Nelson Adoda got a hand in. She's wide open. Well done, George. Came from nowhere. Closed her down. Huge play from the skipper.
Massive block. Massive defensive stop for the Melbourne Boomers.
Now they run this play with a duck and weave. Nelson Adoda off the ball. Here's Mitchell. Won't go. Southside almost fight over that rebound. Down to 80 seconds. 3-point game. Rochi, Thornton, Cole, Maddie to tie it up. Shot clock to 6. Puts it on the floor. They come from everywhere to block.
Good decision. Again, I'm so impressed with Maddie Rochi and the poise she's showing out there. Clock was ticking down. They cleared out that side for her so that she could go one-on-one. Eyes on the target, force the Boomers coming across at the split line to draw that foul.
Second on Mia Murray. Maddie to the line, so the Boomers now in the bonus as well.
How big are these free throws for Maddie Rochi? Swish. That is poise. Game 3, semi-final series. Your team down by 3.
77% career free throw.
Double swish.
Rains them both. Back to a point. Who can execute under pressure here? Offensive foul. Rocci gets it. Advantage Flyers again.
Huge defensive play by Maddie Rocci. She's got the quicks on Leilani Mitchell. She defended her at practice for a couple of seasons at the UC Capitals. Referees deemed she pushed her off. Massive momentum. Swinging defensive play by Maddie Rocci.
So you got Georgia's foul, Georgia's block on one side. Then Maddie Rocci steps up, makes a huge play for her team. Flies a chance to hit the front in the final minute. Cole, she draws a crowd. Rocci could have gone to Thornton. Goes herself!
Massive free throws, defensive play, huge three-pointer. That is a big-time play by a young star.
Flyers up by 2, 53 seconds to play. Maddie Rocci turns the game again. This timeout brought to you by Aussie Hoops. If you've got a youngster aged 5 to 10, a great way to get involved in the game. Get online at aussiehoops.com. If you're Chris Lucas, you've had the momentum, you've lost it, you've had it again, you've lost it right now. It's with Southside. What's his message?
Defensively, they've got to lock up. They've got to get the ball right now into Tiff Mitchell's hands. They've got to run something for her, let her, give her some space, let her get on the floor, run her off some picks. No panic for anyone here. Yeah, this is 53 seconds in a game of basketball like this. This is going to go for about 4 minutes.
Laurie, from a Southside perspective, what's Cheryl saying to her troops?
Well, first of all, you've got to make sure for both teams, everybody is aware of the time and the score. So how much time is left, what they're going to do. I think they would be really trying to deny Mitchell the ball if they can, keep it out of her hands, as we know how lethal she is. But they've got to make sure that they don't foul anybody on the way to the basket on any drive. And then Cheryl would have drawn up a play that she wants at the offensive end.
Big games, all about big moments. Here's one. Kayla George with the block on Blitzarves. Then Maddie Rocci makes a play for Southside. Makes a couple of plays. Gets a stop and then drains a 3 to give her team the lead once again. So it's back with the Boomers. What do you got, Melbourne? The reigning champs. Here's Mitchell. He called for the ball in her hands. That's where it starts. Leilani to George versus Thornton. Called a flop. Mitchell. George. Response!
Oh, my goodness. The responses from the players in such big moments, Graffi, is just, it takes your breath away, seriously.
Big-time plays by big-time players in big-time moments.
Great heads up from Mitchell. She knew Thornton was drawn to the ball. Kayla responds for her team. Game 1 of the Cygnett WNBL Grand Final, Saturday night in Townsville, but who will be their opponent? It's Melbourne 72, Flyers 71. Final minute of regulation in what's been an epic Game 3.
I just think this game deserves overtime.
Sure does.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it?
I know, it's so, you know, both teams right now, again, we'd flip the what we were saying before, the Flyers now, they'll be drawing up a play, talking about, you know, what they need to do, and if they don't score, the instructions will be to, well, I guess it depends on how much time's on the clock, because it's only a 1-point game. You don't need a foul right away.
No, absolutely, Laurie. Yeah. And they'll also need to be aware who do you want to foul if you can. You know, for the Southside Flyers, it's Nelson Adota that isn't the great free throw shooter for them. The coaches will know who they're pointing to, but it's all about, can they lock up a stop. You don't want a 3-point shot here. For, you know, don't let them get an and one. Can you just play good D, see if they can find a tough shot over a hand? Then what have you got diagrammed up? Do you call the timeout straight away and advance it? Do you allow your team maybe to have a quick look at a fast break basket? The coach is deciding how long do they, you know, at what times do they pull their timeout to advance the ball?
You can see that the Flyers have advanced the ball here, so they've got 14 seconds on the shot clock.
40 seconds to play. Thornton Cole. Rochi, can she make another huge play? George and Thornton. And Thornton
Poise.
puts it back in front.
What a great finish. The composure to just stay on task. Kayla George on her back. Possibly could have got called for a foul. Thornton, classy, finds a finish.
Kayla Thornton puts her team back in front. Another timeout, as you mentioned, Graphic. This last minute might take 5.
Absolutely. And again, you know, they'll be talking about clock and score. What are we running offensively? Whose hand do we want the ball in? For the Melbourne Boomers, it's got to be at the rack as they did. It's Tiff Mitchell on the rack. Can they pull her off some balls? Can they run her off some screens? Then let her put the ball on the deck. You only need what's the best wide open shot you can get? They don't need a 3 on the deck into the free throw line, I think is their best bet.
Both sides in the bonus. 5-second differential between shot and game clock. Flies by a point. It's all about communication and execution from here.
Well, and we've got 2 very, very extremely experienced coaches calling the shots right now for their 2 teams.
And similarly, the athletes on the floor, loads of experience, players that have been around the block many times, that have been in big games many times, that have made big shots in big games, that have made big defensive plays.
Over to you, Melbourne Boomers. George with the inbound. And she throws it away. Mitchell can't control it. Huge opportunity now for Southside.
They got her right where they wanted her. She was, close to the rim, defender on her back. Just couldn't execute the pass. Thornton did a good job on the inbound pass then. Played with the hands, played with a bit of space.
Rochi.
Well, if you're Southside, you would just move the ball around for the full, 24 seconds, 15 seconds now, and leave only a handful of seconds for the Boomers.
Well, an interesting hit. Do the Boomers take a hit? Do you foul them and then come down and shoot a 3?
Here's Rochi. Goes against Nelson Adoda. Can't make it. 9 seconds. Boomers the other way. Mitchell to Leilani. Jacks it up. Can't make it. Nelson Adoda. It's over. An epic game 3. And Southside are through to their 3rd grand final in 4 seasons. They end the Boomers championship reign and they'll face Townsville for the WNBL title. What a game.
Wow. I mean, that is what playoffs are all about. Down to the wire, nip and tuck all the way to the end. Big time plays, making big plays. Clutch turnover near the end. What a game. What a playoff game, and deserved for this series.
And there were so many momentum swings out there. First of all, you thought that Southside had the ascendancy. Melbourne would come back, they'd get ahead. Then it was just back and forth the whole game. And the scoreline absolutely reflects the standard of this game.
Leilani Mitchell jacking up a 3 in the final seconds to win it for Melbourne. It wouldn't go. The Flyers hang on. And they are through to face Townsville in a repeat of the 2020 grand final in the Hub. This time they'll get to do it in front of their home fans. Look at Cheryl Chambers.
Yeah, they'll celebrate this one hard and then get ready and focus for the big dance.
They'll be on a plane tomorrow to Townsville.
It's a team that's had plenty of adversity thrown at it. They lost their captain, Amy Rochi, at the start of the season. They lost Dallas Luffridge, one of their young development players. They lost Lauren Jackson on the way as well. They've dusted themselves off. They've kept going. They've been resilient. And they are through to another WNBL grand final. Heartbreak for the Melbourne Boomers. Their title defence ends in a 1-point thriller. And here's Candy with Maddie Rochi.
Maddie Maddie, congratulations. What a game. What a night for women's basketball. What a night for the WNBL. What a night for the Flyers. How are you feeling?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, that was a hell of a final series. It was physical. I mean, bodies were flying everywhere, but I couldn't be prouder of our girls tonight. Honestly, there were ups and downs, but we hung with it.
Maddie, you managed to find that rim. You dodged between everyone to get there. How did you do that tonight?
I mean, I started slow in the first half, and I knew I had to come out and do something, I guess. So that last quarter, I saw an opening, and I just took the lane to the basket, and yeah, it happened.
How happy are you to get into that grand final for your team, for your coaching staff as well, and for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, honestly. I mean, we've had 3 season-ending injuries, so we're doing it for all those girls. But yeah, I honestly couldn't be prouder, and I'm so excited to play in the grand final series.
Well, keep that excitement going. Saturday night is when it's all going to be kicking off. Well done for tonight again. Go and enjoy the celebration.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the Southside Flyers.